in thought then. I was absolutely deep in thought. Just reading a post. I am absolutely freezing this morning. The weather is disgusting. That's all I'm going to say. The weather's disgusting. I'm cold. I've got my heater on, but it doesn't seem to be. It says it's 19 degrees. But it isn't 19 degrees. I've just turned it off now. Oh, have I unplugged it? Have I done that? I've unplugged it. Hang on. Disaster. Absolute disaster. Bloss, you don't need to get involved. No, It's back on. I don't plug my heater. Anyway, there we go. Yeah, it is. You going to say hello? Go and say hello. Go on then. No, not interested. So no, I've got my antler over it. I'm just going to go back into that. Yeah, but I'm absolutely freezing this morning. It is so cold. It is honestly, and it doesn't say it's cold on like the weather apps or anything, but I am cold this morning, and it's going to get colder. But I think it's damp and miserable, and we need some Christmas lights up. That's what we need. I think I'm gonna have to decorate the office. It's my first Christmas in the office. I was looking at this the other day. I was like, right, first Christmas in the office. Then we're gonna have to do some decorating. I think we're gonna have to get some Christmas bits and pieces up. I have my bloody washing in here. It's like me washroom, but stuff ain't drying anymore. It's not warm enough in here. Everything's staying damp for a few days. So I'm gonna have to move the washing into the house. That's just what I'm gonna have to do. So I'm gonna have to tidy out one of the rooms and have that as a little washroom. And then I'll have space in it. I might even get myself a little tree. You never know. Right, let's do top 5 this morning on TikTok. Lou's in at number 1. Jackie's in at number 2. Kelly's in at number 3. Rachel's in at number 4. And Caroline is in at number 5. Good morning, guys. Thank you very much for jumping on the live. Coming and saying hello straight away. Lisa, good morning. Peter P's in, good morning. Mama Bear, hi. How are we? Are we all good? Let me know. I've just sent someone an invite. Please ignore it. Let me get off that just so I can see. Yeah, they've changed like the TikTok feed. They do it sometimes, and it's definitely not for the better. So anyway, if everyone does a TikTok live, if you just swipe left or right, I can't remember which way it is, it gets away with that interaction sort of stuff. Anyway, Kevin's in on Facebook this morning. Good morning. And Nelly News in as well. Good morning to you too. So we are Tuesday, the 11th of November. We're nearly halfway through the month. And do you know what? I just feel like, and I'm not, I weighed in on Friday and I've done really well. But yeah, I just feel like I'm plodding along at the moment. I just feel like everything's just, I always say this, Groundhog Day. There's nothing amazing to report. And that's a good thing, really, for weight loss. Genuinely, it is a good thing for weight loss. And we've not got anything like, I'm doing quite a lot of content at the moment and trying to sort of get my clients to have a much more positive outlook going towards Christmas, because it is a time we panic. And if you've never worked, I've got a lot of clients now that have worked with me for over a year. So they were with me last year or even the year before. Some of them have been with me 3 or 4 years. And, those are the ones that are like, yeah, it's Christmas. Been, it's busy couple of weeks. It's blah, 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 and obviously my coaching is working on them. But obviously then I take new clients on, and I'm working with quite a few clients this year, and it's their first ever Christmas. And that unhealthy relationship with weight loss, that unhealthy relationship with food, just life in general is in full swing. It's in full swing. So, and it's the same every year. It is the same every year. But, we do lots of coaching lives now going forward. Well, I say lots of coaching lives. Time just disappears so quick. So I'm doing one today about peer pressure. Does anyone struggle with that? And that isn't just relatable to Christmas. It's just relatable to any social event. And it doesn't need to be peer pressure from, you get peer pressure from friends, you get peer pressure from family. And what is peer pressure? It's when, like, other people try to influence your choices, is what peer pressure is. And there's plenty of reasons why people do it. You know, it could be that other people don't understand your issues, so they haven't got empathy. It could be because other people have your issues, but they're not willing to make the changes that you're willing to make. So they're trying to drag you down. There's lots of other reasons. So I'm going to talk about that today. And it's something that, you know, it's probably something, I always say this, at some point in time on a weight loss journey, if you want to have success, you're going to have to do things that we don't want to do. We're going to have to all face things that we're going to find tough, right? And I'm going to talk about that this morning, the things that I faced in my life that I found tough. But in the long run, they've been some of the best decisions I've ever made. So we're going to talk about that today. And then on Thursday, I'm just going to talk about Christmas in general. I'm just going to talk about, so last week I did navigating up to Christmas, and I might do another one on that a little bit closer to the time, like the last couple of weeks. We might might do a take 2 on that as things do ramp up towards Christmas. But yeah, certainly, and I'm just going to talk about Christmas week and how to handle it. And again, I'm going to kind of talk about how I've handled it over the years. So I've done on a weight loss journey 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 20. This is my 12th Christmas on a weight loss journey. And I've been at different phases at different Christmases. So Christmas 2014 was my first ever Christmas losing weight. And I struggled very similar. You know, I understand a lot of people's issues now. Now, don't get me wrong. I think it's harder going into Christmas the less time you've been with me, which is what I'm noticing with certain clients. But, you know, when I went into Christmas 2014, I was still panicking about it. Because again, unhealthy relationship, but you know, it was like, oh, you know, eating food that makes me fat for 10 days. I'm going to undo all I've done. Don't work like that. Right? I know that now. 2015 was different because it was my first Christmas with Rachel, and I did let my hair down, and it was amazing. I was actually quite restricted. I felt like I restricted myself 2014. 2015, I felt like I let my hair down fully, and I actually gained more weight 2014 when I over restricted myself. Now, again, you've got to understand the difference between weight gain and fat gain. So a lot of us just jump on the scales, see a gain, and go, I'm fatter. It's like, it doesn't work like that. You know, I talk about fluctuations all the time. So the scales are affected by 4 things. Well, the scale, you know, the first things we need to understand about scales is they weigh our weight. They don't weigh our fat, right? They don't. And being in a calorie deficit only affects what. So you get on the scales, right? If I got on the scales now, it's going to weigh me cap. It's going to weigh me top. It's going to weigh me shorts. It's going to weigh me shoes, me socks, right? It also weighs me skin. It weighs me bones. It weighs me blood. It weighs all my organs. It weighs my muscle. It weighs my body fat. Right? It weighs anything that's in my stomach. It weighs anything that's in my intestine. It weighs anything that's in my bowel, that's in my bladder. Right? It weighs all that because it's all part of me. Now, normally we weigh naked or just with light underwear on. So it's just weight, but it still weighs your body. Right? And what we have to understand with the scales is, or with our bodies is, every time we get on the scales, the amount of food running through our system from stomach to small intestine to large intestine to bowel is different every single time. Sometimes there'll be more, sometimes there'll be less. Water weight, the amount of water we have stored in our system from, you know, again, sitting in our stomach, sitting in our bladder is different every time we get on the scales. Water retention, water held by the body, right, is different. Water held in the muscles, water held in different organs, water held in our stomach, right, is all different every time we get on the scales. Now, most of the time, if we weigh consistently, right time, right day, so first thing in the morning, I always recommend weighing on a Friday because it's a, you know, what we might do over the weekend will affect water weight, food weight, water retention more than what we do during the week, generally, especially the way I coach, if you're following my advice. So the most accurate day for weighing is generally Friday morning. Thursday morning's fine. Friday morning, Saturday morning, if you don't do anything Friday, anywhere 3 or 4 days away from the weekend, you're going to get the most accurate results, right? On the scales. But still, I get so many clients that message me, I've done everything right, or I've hardly eaten I've been ill for a week and I've hardly eaten and I've gained a pound. I don't understand it. The stress of being ill, the stress of not eating anything can cause bloating. If I don't eat anything, I bloat. Right? I swell up when I don't eat anything. I get is it distended, they call it? My stomach bloats out when I don't eat anything. So people automatically go, well, I've not eaten anything. Have you really not eaten anything? Right? A lot of people that say that, I'm like, you will have eaten something. You might not have eaten a lot of volume. You might have eaten a lot of comforting foods, which don't feel like you've eaten a lot. You go and eat 3 hobnobs, you get 300 calories. Well, that's the same as a decent sized yogurt bowl, right? But it feels like you've eaten nothing, right? But you're still eating. Yeah. So, but we have to understand fluctuations in the body. Stress causes water retention in the body, right? So, and this is, high levels of cortisol, which is why it's so important to work on our mental health. High levels of cortisol just slip us into depression anyway, right? Long term, that's so we have two. It's not as simple as this, but it kind of is if you want to look at it that way. Unhappy hormone, happy hormone. Unhappy hormone's cortisol. Now, cortisol can actually be beneficial in some ways, just like serotonin can actually have some negative effects. But overall, the balance, if cortisol's very high, serotonin's very low, and over time, that massively affects our mood. It causes depression. It can trigger anxiety. It just has lots of negative effects, but it could also cause excess water retention in the body. That will show on the scales, right? And I know life can be tough and life can be hard, but life is too short to live I lived in a depressive state for 30 years of my life, right? Didn't want to be here, hated everything. And in the grand scheme of things, where did it get me? It got me nowhere. Didn't make life better. Didn't make the situation any better. Didn't make me lighter. Didn't make me fitter. Didn't make me healthier. Didn't make me worry less. So when I started my weight loss journey, and you might not believe that I used to be a negative person, I really did. I used to absolutely hate my life, right? Now, I was always a clown in public, like with my friends and this, that, and the other. I was always, but that was a defense mechanism. People won't like me because I'm fat, but they might like me because I'm funny, right? So I was always the Burke, yeah? And and at times I was probably a bit Marmite. I was probably a bit too over the top. But again, it was just a defensive mechanism. But deep down, I lived my life in a very depressive state for a long period of time. And we all go through tragedy. We all go through trauma. I couldn't move, right? I had no, but living that way, it didn't improve anything. Didn't get me any better. And it is a state of mind. Right. And you can't switch emotions on and off. It doesn't quite work like that. But you can work on things to make emotions better, which is what I did. Right. And now I live life in a positive state of mind. And it's such a nice place to be. It genuinely is. Just seeing the best of a bad situation all the time. Honestly, So, yeah. Lost weight initially by running a lot. Plateaued a bit and want to lose a few more pounds. Can my body become used to the running and not shed the pounds as easy as before? Not really. Depends how long you've done it for. This thing where your body adapts to weight loss. Does your body adapt to running? Yeah. So does your body adapt to any exercise? Yeah. So as you get fitter and healthier, your body doesn't have to work as hard, which will reduce calorie burn, but not. Depends how much you are running. Why people stop losing weight is generally down to calorie control. 99% of the time, it's down to calorie control. People always look for different, and people will swear blind, I'm tracking everything. It's one of the most dangerous sayings I hear. When people say to me they're being as accurate as they can be, I'm not saying some clients aren't, but I'm always like, when they're not getting results, when they're plateauing, when they're maintaining, right? I'm tracking everything. Well, you're not, right? Because even if you were, right, you'd be losing weight, right? It's dead simple, right? Scales don't lie. We do, unfortunately. Yeah. So it's not that your body's become used to running. At the end of the day, exercise is a very minor fraction of weight loss. all it does is it contributes some of your calorie burn, and you don't burn that much. You don't burn that many calories, right? Now, don't get me wrong. There might be some people out there that run 30, 40 kilometers. Some people might do a marathon a day running. Yeah, they're going to burn a lot of calories. Of course they are. But, some people I'm not losing any weight. I'm doing 3 5Ks a week. It's great that you're doing 3 5Ks a week, but that's not, that's only going to burn so many calories. Does that make sense? So basically, if you've lost a decent amount of weight, it's nothing to do with running. It's to do with calorie control. Right? Even if you're like, well, I've not tracked it doesn't matter whether you track calories or not, you've controlled your calories. That's the only way we lose body fat, by consuming less calories than we burn. Right? And if you've stopped losing weight because you're not controlling your calories as much anymore, really is that simple. It's nothing to do. Yes, your body does get fitter, it does get healthier, and we should progress from that. So, if you start running, right, and you're running at a certain, you might start running, you might do 2 or 3K. Right, as that gets easier, you should do 5K, or you run it quicker. So I used to do 5K, and when I first started, I do it in 45 minutes. Now I do it in 30 minutes. So your body's not adapting there because you're running more intensely because you're running at a faster pace. So your calorie burn will be the same. But the emphasis we put on exercise when it comes to weight loss is it just shouldn't be that high. Right, it's all about calorie control. Paula Reed, I weigh on a Monday, but might change to a Friday. Monday is the worst day to weigh. Absolutely. Anyone on this live now, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, if you are weighing on a Monday, please stop. Because even if you are not following, like I recommend that we eat a little bit less during the week, we bank some calories, and that gives us a bit of flexibility and freedom at the weekend. If you're following those rules, right, then on a Monday, you're going to have extra food weight, extra water weight, and it's just such a poor, inaccurate day to weigh. It really, really is. Like, just leave the scales alone on a Monday. Even if you are disordered eating and trying to eat the same amount of calories every single day, I guarantee what you eat. So not just food volume or calories, right? Let's say you're eating 2,000 calories every single day. During the week, I guarantee you eat slightly differently at the weekend. At the weekend, you might stick to 2,000 calories, but you will have a bit more chocolate, right? Instead of having more fruit. And that is more refined carbs, and that will increase water retention in the body. You might, on a Saturday, I've only got 2,000 calories. We're going to have a takeaway tonight. So I'm going to starve myself through the day so I can have my takeaway at night time, right? That takeaway will have, again, more refined carbs. It'll have more salt in it, and that will cause water retention. And that will still be showing on a Monday morning. Don't weigh on a Monday. Absolutely the worst day. Right? And I guarantee you see as many probably gains as losses on a Monday. Now, look, if you're sat there going, no, I eat 1,000 calories a day, and what I eat on a Monday is exactly what I eat on a Saturday is exactly the same as what I eat on a Wednesday. Is there going to be much? Not really. But I'm talking to people that are overweight. We don't eat like that. People that are trying to sort out their eating issues and eating habits and this, that, and the other. Or it's very rare people that have a weight issue eat like that. So please leave the scales alone on a Monday. You should weigh on the same day at the same time, at the most once a week. I don't even recommend that. Once every 2 weeks, just weigh every couple of Fridays. Just get on the scales and see what's happening. That's all you need to do. If you're doing what you should be doing, the scales will be your friend, right? If you're not doing what you need to be doing, the scales won't be your friend. It really is that simple. Now, I'm not saying, right, that weighing every other week, you will get a loss, but you'll get more loss. If you're weighing every other Friday and you're being consistent and you're not getting more losses than gains or maintains, you're not being consistent. It really is that simple, Hi, you see so many different weight loss programs. What are the benefits of intermittent fasting? Calorie control. But for me, what you have to look at when you see different weight loss programs, diets, whatever you want to call it, you have to weigh the pros against the cons. So intermittent fasting, the most popular intermittent fasting is not eating he's having an eating window of 12 p.m. till 8 p.m. And basically the benefit of that is you don't eat breakfast and you don't snack at night time. That will reduce your calories, but it's unsustainable. Right. And that's it. It's just a calorie control method. Right. Any other, if anyone has they think there's any other benefits to intermittent fasting, there isn't. There's no other health benefits to it. right? Some people go, oh, it helps with, autophagy of cells. No, it doesn't, right? Autophagy of cells is your cells rebuilding. Our cells rebuild all the time, skin every 30 days, right? They repair and rebuild, right? And people say you build your cells repair better with no food in your system. Nothing works better with no fuel. Nothing. Leaves don't grow without sunlight. Cars do not move without petrol, right? It's an absolute nonsense mindset to think that the human body works better without fuel than with fuel. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're overweight, you've always got energy in your system, fat, right? You've always got that, and you won't, and that'll keep you going. But fat does not have vitamins. It does not have minerals. It does not have nutrients that we need to function properly. Yeah, it has energy. So, overweight people, if they don't eat a lot, right, they're still going to move about. They're not going to die, right? They're not going to get metabolic adaptation. They're not going to see too many negative side effects. They'll see some, but you don't have nutrition. But just think about it logically. Anyone says you function better without fuel in your system, right? Do you really? So we're the only thing on the planet that actually works better without fuel, because nothing else functions better without fuel. Yeah. So it's just an absolute fallacy. But people have to come up with creating good for inflammation. No, it's not. There's this big thing about inflammation. Like this causing. Tell me about inflammation. What do you know about inflammation? Right. Tell me what your mindset is around inflammation. Right. Where you think not intermittent fasting reduces inflammation. What do you think inflammation is like swelling on your knee? Or do you think it's within your joints? Or do you think it's internally within your body? Tell me about it. Tell me about what's good for inflammation. All right? People or are you just repeating what someone else has said? Like I say, it's not. There's no other health benefits. Inflammation, it seems this buzzword at the moment about inflammation, like with seed oils cause it. No, they don't. Right? And people actually, when you say inflammation, they don't know what people are talking about. Like you might go, oh, me joints, me knees a bit inflamed. Right? Inflammation is basically, swelling on different areas of the body. And certain foods will trigger it, but only if you overconsume them. Right? And whether you don't eat, we fast every day. And if that's the case, why do you need to push the fast to 60? The last thing I ate last night was at about 6:30, 7 o'clock. It's now 9 o'clock in the morning. I've not eaten for 14 hours. Has that reduced inflammation in my body? Is it toss? Right? I eat a healthy, balanced diet. If you eat a healthy, balanced diet, even with some unhealthier foods chucked in there, an overall healthy, balanced diet, you won't suffer with inflammation, right? And if you do, because you have arthritis like I do, there are natural remedies, turmeric tablets that are good to help reduce inflammation, right? And if you have severe inflammation, then then there'll be other meds that can help you. But overall, it's just there's all these sort of like buzzwords. Cortisol is a buzzword. No, it's not. Cortisol is a stress hormone, right? And it's very important that we control it. Why do you think mental health is so poor in this day and age? Right? High levels of cortisol, right? So it's not a buzzword. It is something that's been brought to people's attention, but it is something that's easy to understand. Whereas inflammation, I think people just go, yeah, it's bad for inflammation. What inflammation? What is your knowledge of inflammation? And people go, well, my knee swells up a little bit. Yeah, right. That's because you banged it, right? Or you're using it a bit too much. Yeah. And inflammation doesn't cause us any issues. Cortisol will do long term. Right. So I don't agree with that. You might think it is, but cortisol is very, very important. And why we talk about it more now is because, mental health wasn't as talked about years ago. The saying man up. Like, what do you mean man up? What, a man can't show emotions anymore? How do we know that people aren't broken? Right? Because it's not right. Men can't cry. Men can't be emotional. Men can't do that. That's the thing of the past. And now that we talk more about mental health and what causes mental health, and it is hormone imbalances. So hormone imbalances don't directly stop us losing weight. They have zero effect. So people, insulin's a hormone. They'll go, oh, when insulin's in your system, you don't lose weight. Nonsense. Absolute garbage, right? It's just a lie, right? Just like if your cortisol levels are as high as a kite, right, you will lose body fat if you stick to a calorie deficit. Of course you will, right? But what we need to we need to understand that it's the indirect effect. So when we are stressed, right, anxious, depressed, that leads to emotional eating, right, for overweight people. For other people, you might see people that are stressed all the time, but they don't have a weight issue, but they'll have a coping mechanism for that. Smoking, drinking, right? They'll have a coping mechanism. Mine's food, Good evening, boss. Been a cracking 32 today and a stressful day at work. Oh, you're good. I'm very good, Jess. Very good indeed. Yes, I'm really good. Hope you're doing well. I forget it's edging into your. Well, it'll be full blown summer now, is it, or is it still classed as spring? 32, I think, is pretty much summer, isn't it? Good start to the week with calories, but not steps. Try not to overthink it because I'm unwell. Regan, don't think I've got a cold. I don't think you can tell in my voice. I said that to Rachel last night. I said I've got a sniffle. It doesn't feel like it's just a sniffle. I said yesterday, didn't I? I said I get hay fever when the leaves drop this time of year. And I just thought yesterday it was a hay fever thing, but I think it is developing more into a cold. Callum, good morning. What's your thoughts on GLP-1? My classic stance is if used by the right people in the right way, it can be a great tool. If used by the wrong people in the wrong way, will just be another fad diet. It really is that. It really is that simple. Obviously, a lot of people at the moment, which I'm sort of guiding a few clients on, are moving because of the increase in prices to Mounjaro. People are moving over to Wegovy because it's much cheaper. I'm finding that clients are getting a lot more. So you will get more side effects. So Mounjaro's been developed. Mounjaro triggers two receptors. It's a GLP-1 and a GLP or some GIP. I'm not going to get into the technical, but basically, Wegovy triggers one receptor, GLP-1. Mounjaro does two, right? And from that, it's the side effects are massively reduced, especially on smaller doses. So the side effects that people were getting on Ozempic, Wegovy, Saxenda at much lower doses, right? People didn't get on Mounjaro till they were going up 7.5, 10, 12.5 milligram. So I've got quite a few clients now that have moved over to Wegovy. It's not as good, right? It doesn't work as well, but that's fine because your weight loss injection should only be a little shoulder to lean on anyway. So if it just means you need to kind of summon up bit of extra willpower, but we should be doing that anyway, So in a way, Mounjaro is kind of too effective. The ideal would be to have the suppression from Wegovy without the side effect, with the side effects of Mounjaro. So people wouldn't be as leaning on the meds as much. They'd have to find a bit more willpower and support, which is going to make it easier when you come off the meds to control your weight afterwards. But yeah, likewise, unfortunately with Wegovy, as you build and people are jumping up the dose is a bit quicker because they're not finding it works as well as Mounjaro, then the side effects. So it's all about balance. It's all about balance, Unfortunately, my coping mechanism is drinking, which is potentially worse, trying to get out of the habit. I think you've got two, Kevin. I think you were very similar to me. I use food and alcohol throughout my life as a coping mechanism. Potentially alcohol is worse. Yeah, I think alcohol, they're both not good. I think alcohol's worse short term. Obesity is worse long term. So even very overweight people, alcohol can, if people become alcoholics, it takes a massive toll. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying being overweight, being obese doesn't take a massive toll, but I think you can function better depending on how severe you turn to each coping mechanism, as it were. But yeah, they're both not good. They're both not good. So it depends. You know, when I say I used alcohol as a coping mechanism, I wasn't drinking 2 bottles of vodka a day, but I was going on the smash most weekends, right? And it was like letting a cork out of a bottle. You know, it was just like a massive sort of thing for me. It built up over the week, and then I was going out sort of Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sundays, which wasn't good. But then I wouldn't drink for 4 days, and then I convinced myself, well, because I don't drink for 4 days, I only drink 3 days, I've not got an issue with it. I had a massive issue with it, you know. So it's I get it, and it is something we do need to fight. And for anyone who is, you know, you can't quit food, you can quit alcohol. I never felt that and for the rights or wrongs of it, I'm not saying this was the right stance. I never felt that I needed to quit alcohol. I thought I could get it under control, and I feel I have, you know. I feel like I genuinely have. I slipped a little bit in 2023. I felt I was not using it as a coping mechanism, but I was drinking more than I used to. Whereas this year, I've had it fully under control, you know, and that's obviously been reflected in the success of my weight loss so far this year, you know. I got an ice cold Oreo grenade bar in the fridge waiting for me. I'm with you there, Jess. Some people don't like grenade bar, certain protein bars cold. Certain ones I do, but the Oreo one, milk chocolate, I'm not a big fan of the white one. I don't think the white one's great. I've not had a grenade bar for ages. It used to be my go-to, but I think the last couple of years, grenade bars are still superb. They really, really are. But I think the last couple of years, a lot of companies have caught up. And, you know, it used to be grenade, used to be head and shoulders above everyone. I don't think they are. I gained weight on Mounjaro. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't cause weight loss, Michael. It doesn't cause weight loss. It just helps to suppress appetite. So if people use Mounjaro and they can still push past the suppression, you will do. Weight loss is caused by calories in versus calories out, or consistent weight loss, which is basically consistent fat loss, is caused by calories in versus calories out. So if you're using a GLP-1 and it's not suppressing you and you're not controlling your calories, I know a few people that have had zero success on Mounjaro. You don't see that on social media. People only sing when they're winning, you know. People only sing when they're winning. No one's going to come on social media, or if anyone knows any accounts where, you know, it's like I say, it's very rare anyone will come on social media and talk about how bad they're doing, right? It's always positivity, which isn't a bad thing in a way, but it doesn't give people a true reflection, right? You know, a lot of people on Instagram will always do the happy family sort of thing, you know, 2 new cars, 4-bedroom house, you know, perfect kids, star of the week at thingy. There's never any background, right? Because life just isn't that perfect, right? It really, really isn't. And, you know, there's over 1 million Mounjaro users in the UK, right? Do you think all those million people, and this really ramped up from January this year, think all those million people are actually smashing their weight loss journey? No. Rachel's auntie has done it for a long period of time, and I don't think she's had any major success on it whatsoever. And she was up to like 10 milligram, but she just pushed past it, you know. So you've still got to have that one, and you've still got to control your calories, even if you're on it, you know. And a lot of people, there will be a lot of people that don't do that. But again, it doesn't get it. There's no reality to it. Like I say, it's very rare that people come on. Like I say, people only sing when they're winning, you know. I follow a few Mounjaro accounts, and I've been through them, and they do weigh-ins, and they don't do week. I've seen people not do weekly weigh-ins, or when it is their weekly weigh-in, they've obviously weighed in, not lost, but then made up an excuse. Oh, I'm out the house now. I know it's my weigh day, but I forgot to weigh this morning. I can't weigh because you always weigh more at night time, but I'll be back next week. And I'm like, they've probably done 1 in 3 of those, like made these little excuses up. And I guarantee it's because they're probably promoting a code, you know, get £40 off. I don't know if they still do those now with Mounjaro because of the price hike, but get £30 off or £40 off. Use code this, and I get half price. I still can't believe people are getting kickbacks for promoting medication. And it is a medication. It's not quite it's not an over the counter. It's not paracetamol or ibuprofen. which you shouldn't be getting kicks back for promoting that anyway, but it's not something you can just go into Aldi and buy, right? It is like a semi-prescribed, well, it is prescribed, but it's like in between. You don't need to see a doctor for it. You need to just pass a bit of criteria and then you buy it. But I still can't believe people get kickbacks for promoting people to use a medication. It's bizarre to me. I don't know why it's not regulated. I'm not saying people shouldn't use GLP-1s, but it shouldn't be like a 20% commission thing. But anyway, there you go. That's just my thoughts on it. You're knowledgeable regarding all these things out there that all of us feed into and get obsessed with. It's just so useful and refreshing. Reminding of us reality rather than us trying to do everything. Cause all the information, also so helpful. So thank you. I can never hear this enough, as I'm such a follower of all this. And we get dragged in to weight loss BS. And why is there so much weight loss BS out there? Because it's £1 billion industry. It's £1 billion industry, and people will always try and sell you a dream, right? And people buy into dreams because we're vulnerable. People that are desperate to achieve anything are easily influenced. It really is that simple. I could have done it. I could have easily done it. I've talked about this loads. I've lost 250 pounds, and I could have created this absolutely bulletproof, foolproof, thing that I did. It could have just been, little tablets that I promoted. This is just a turmeric tablet, by the way. Little tablets that I promoted. And a bit like people used apple cider vinegar gummies last year on TikTok. So I've started taking apple cider vinegar gummies. I've lost 10 pounds. Absolute bullshit, right? So I could quite easily have, gone down that route and created this magic for everyone. How have I lost 250 pounds? I've done nothing. I still eat what I want to eat. I still live the life that I've always lived. I just take 2 of these tablets in the morning, 2 of these tablets in the evening. They could just be multivitamins, right? And you can buy them now for, I don't know. Well, look at what people are doing now with Mounjaro. £200 a month. People are still paying it, right? I was talking to my mate who's my GP, and I was like, "Have you noticed? Because they've got a pharmacy in the health centre. Is there a massive downturn in users?" And he went, "Not really. About 10%. He said about 10% from the price hikes. Now, we live in a village, and it's quite an area where, I suppose, not affluent, but it's not a poorer area, as it were. So maybe it's not a true reflection of it. But he was like, no, it's about 10% downturn from the price hikes. People are just still buying it anyway. So, I could have done that. It's £200 a month, and I could probably string people along for a few months alongside it, because you see all these weight loss methods. It says in the small print, may help weight loss as part of a calorie controlled diet or as part of a calorie controlled diet and a change in lifestyle or something like that. And I could have easily done that, and I'd probably made a lot of money. And it disappeared. It would have only lasted so long because people cotton onto it and then they move on to the next thing. Right, but it doesn't. I won't sugarcoat anything, and I won't lie, and I won't say, how did I lose my weight? I grafted hard. I worked hard to control my calories. I worked hard to sort out my disordered eating, my food addiction. I changed my whole lifestyle, and I've done it in a way that I've managed to maintain now for the lifestyle, the changes for nearly 12 years. It'll be in February. I was put off recently by all the success stories from the jabs that seemed to keep appearing on Facebook and felt my losses were too low and slow. But I had to think and realize some of the people using jabs aren't eating a lot, whereas I still have a decent diet. I've had treats, haven't felt deprived, and still losing weight steadily. Absolutely, Pamela. And that's the thing. Again, there's no background reality to it. People are, and I've had it with a lot of clients. So I coach over 30 people that are on weight loss jabs. Right, different ones. I've got a few that have moved over to Wegovy. I've still got a majority that are on Mounjaro. I'm currently, I've got 2 clients now that are off Mounjaro. They came on it, they've come on plan with me, and we've brought them off it. So I'm quite educated in it. I've learned a lot this year over it. Do I know everything? Absolutely not. But one thing that has been apparent from working with a lot of clients is how overly suppressed people have been with poor education. Not education, but pharmacies wanting to make money. The bigger the dose, the more you spend, right? the more you spend, the more money the pharmacies make. So it was very, very common January, February, where clients were literally going up 2.5 milligram every 4 weeks just in a routine. Was nothing to do with their suppression, was nothing to do with how well they were controlling their eating. It was literally, they were calling 2.5 milligram a loading dose. So this is just to get your system used to it. Then we'll get you onto 5 after 4 weeks. And then after 6, after your next pen, we'll put you onto 7.5. We might do 2 pens at 7.5, and then we'll get you onto 10. And within 4 months, people were nearly on the highest dose you could have, eating 800 calories a day. Yeah, they were losing ridiculous amounts of weight, but it's because they're starving themselves. They're malnourishing themselves. The issue with that is then when they want to come off it, right, or prices go up, right, and people can't afford to do it anymore, right, they've not changed anything. They've just used the tool as the reason for weight loss, whereas rather than using it as a helping hand, as it were. Anyway, a lot of clients now that are coming on board with it, and I think the price hike's probably helping with that, is, I've got one client now who went on 2.5 milligram end of July, still on it, still consistently losing, doing fantastic. And they've been on it, over 3 months, still on the loading dose and still having great suppression off it. Well, enough suppression to do what they want to do, which is they're still having to work, they're still having to get the steps in, they're still having to work on controlling the calories, but they're still consistently losing. And they have said in the last couple of weeks that it's still working well for them. So, if it ain't broke, we don't fix it, right? Just to make more. Now, if they'd followed their advice of their supplier, they'd probably be on 7.5 milligram now. And instead of eating 1,800 calories, 1,900 calories that I've set, they'd have been on 7.5 milligram, eating 1,000 calories a day, right? Which isn't good. Isn't good. No adult on this planet should be eating the calories that are suitable for a 7 or 8 year old. Not eating enough calories means you're not getting enough vitamins, minerals, nutrition. Yes, your body fat will make up the difference in energy, but feeling deprived, feeling restricted, all these things can affect mood, they can affect hormones, they can affect all sorts within the body. It's not good. It really isn't good. Right, let me scan down. I am going shortly. Yogurt bowl this morning. It's wet, it's rainy, it's a bit cold. I was thinking of doing protein porridge. The last couple of Tuesdays I've done protein porridge, but I'm not. I'm going to go. I've had a yogurt bowl since Friday, right? Yeah, that's a long time. Oh no, I didn't. I had on Saturday, so I haven't had one since Saturday. Still 72 hours. So that's quite a long time for me. So big yogurt bowl incoming. And I'm going to go with, I don't know what flavor to go with this morning. I've got a couple of like older tubs of protein powder that have been sat at the back of my shelf. And I'm like, I probably need to finish them off. So I've got Kinder Bueno, which from Perform, which actually isn't the white chocolate Bueno flavor. It's not my favorite flavor. It isn't. I'm going to put it out there, but I've only got a bit left. So I'm going to get it eaten up. Right, let me scan up, see if I've missed anything. Martin's in, I know I'm 163 pounds into my journey. Amazing, mate. How often should you adjust your calorie intake? So, Martin, I can't quite remember what your start weight was. I know it was quite high. Basically, on average, our calories reduce about 50 calories per stone that we lose. That is an average. The bigger we are, that'll be bigger. The smaller we are, that'll be lower. So if you're 13 stone and you go down to 12 stone, your calorie burn probably drops 25 calories a day, 30 calories a day at the most, right? It doesn't change that much. If you're 30 stone and you drop a stone, your calorie burn is probably going to drop 100 calories a day, right? So Martin was 518 pounds. So he was my start weight when I started my weight loss journey, right? And Martin is 163 pounds down, which is unbelievable. It's like 12 stone, right? It's 11.6 stone. And that will have reduced Martin's calorie burn by about 1,100 calories a day. Now, Martin at 518 pounds, before he even moved, will have burned 4,000 calories a day, right? So, so I don't know what your calories are on, Martin, are you asking this because your weight loss is slowing down, or are you still finding that your weight loss, like I can't see it being, you're what now, 350 pounds, mate? So your weight loss shouldn't be the same as it was when you were 518 if you're on the same calories. I never reduced my calorie intake from being over 500 pounds to getting down to like 200. In fact, I increased my calorie intake. Right, weight loss is slowing. Okay, so when I was my lightest that I've ever been, I was 16 and a half stone, so 16.5. So when I started my weight loss journey at over 500 pounds, I was eating between 2.5 and 3,000 calories a day. Right, when I was 16 and a half stone, which is the lightest I've ever been, so I was 231 pounds. Right, I was eating between 3,000 and 3,500 calories a day and still consistently losing weight. Why? Because when I started my weight loss journey at over 500 pounds, I probably averaged 1,500 steps a day. Yeah. When I was at my lightest at 16 and a half stone, I was averaging 17,000 steps a day. I was delivering 30 to 40 personal training classes a week, and I was teaching 6 to 8 fitness classes a week. Right. So my weight dropped, but my movement went through the roof. Right. And me at 16 and a half stone, doing 17,000 steps a day on average, doing 30 to 40 personal training sessions a week and teaching 8 fitness classes meant my calorie burn was the same as Neil over 500 pounds doing 1,500 steps a day. And I wasn't trying to lose weight at that point, but I still was. I couldn't eat enough. So Martin's weight loss is slowing down a little bit. Have you increased your movement? You should be able to move way more at 350 pounds than family. Going from 37 stone to 25 stone, you should be able to move way more. Now, I don't know what your mobility issues were, and I don't know. I'm hoping they've improved a little bit, but I would highly recommend trying to counterbalance. I would accept that weight loss should be slower. Weight loss at 350 pounds should be slower than at 520 pounds, right? It just should, right? So that's all good. That's absolutely fine, right? Definitely moving more, and all the old aches and pains have gone. That's amazing, Martin. So that's good. So again, similar reflection to me. I would just, when you say weight loss has slowed down, at 520 pounds, you could quite comfortably lose 3 to 4 pounds a week. At 350 pounds, you can still lose 2. So if you're like, yeah, I've gone from losing 4 pounds a week to 2, that's fine. I wouldn't worry about that. I wouldn't reduce your calories. I wouldn't. I don't think you'll ever need to. You shouldn't really ever need to, Martin, if you're doing this right. So now, if you're coming to me and going, no, I'm maintaining most weeks with the occasional loss, that's nothing to do with. That's down to your accuracy and accountability, right? You've changed what you were doing, which is quite common. You've been at this a long time. You're 12 months in. You're 12 stone down, right? So have you slipped a little bit? What calories are you eating, Martin? I'll tell you if they're right or not. What calories are you eating on average a day? Yeah. And what's your step count, right? So, because if you're currently managing to do 10,000 steps a day at 350 pounds, if you were eating 3,000 calories a day on average, you'd be consistently losing at least pound and a half a week. I've lost 32 kilograms so far. Got stuck on 30, so increased calories, now back down again. Yeah. So why is this person starting to lose weight by eating more calories? Because it's just improving consistency, right? It's like a lot of people might be eating 1,800 calories a day and not losing weight, right? And they think they're not losing weight because the calories are too high. No, you're not losing weight because you can't stick to 1,800 calories a day. You might think you are, but you're not, right? Averaging 2.6, 2.8, fine. Martin, that's fine, right? You should be if you're doing, say, 10,000 steps a day on average, if you're managing to do that now, and you're eating 2.6, 2.8, you should be losing 2 pounds a week. Should that be less than when you were over fat? Yeah, of course it should be, right? So when I was you know, I lost 10 stone in my first year. When I was a personal trainer eating 3 to 3,500 calories a day, I lost 2.5 stone in a year. So my weight loss massively slowed down, but I'm still losing a lot of weight. It's just, you know, because yeah, it's oh, perfect. I've got a new fridge. Just to totally change subjects, I've got a new fridge coming, and I've got loads, and I have to put delivery in for tomorrow, and I've got loads to do tomorrow morning. And they've just messaged saying we'll be with you between 2:30 and 5:30. Get it, perfect. Always take the little wins. Always take the little wins. Does protein powder go off when opened? No, absolutely not. Have I used protein powder that has been open for years, like 3-4 years? Yeah. In fact, this white Kinder Bueno that I'm going to finish off in the next couple of days, I opened in 2022. Will it be well out of date on the tub? 100%. Will it have gone off? Absolutely not. No. It's dry paste. It's powdered milk. You know, it's why you'd have powdered milk in a bunker, right? If there was a nuclear war and you can have it 10 years later. It's preserved for life. So no, you're all good. You're all good. I ordered a Manjaro, but I haven't used it because I'm not in the mental headspace to use it. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think a lot of people do use it and they're not in the mental headspace. And again, you know, you've got to change you. You've got to change you. And if you're not ready to change you, it's pointless using it. Apparently Grenada releasing a cream egg protein bar soon. I would have thought that would be an Easter thing. So maybe Jan, Feb. I'd be all right with that. I'd definitely be all right with that. If it's definitely, I don't know. Will it be Cadbury? Yeah, it will be because Cadbury's owned by. They do Oreo, don't they? Cadbury and Oreo are the same. The same company owns like Cadbury, Oreo, Chips Ahoy, all those sort of things. So yeah, I'd be all right with that. I would definitely be all right with that. Yeah, they seem to have gone Grenade. They sort of brought out a lot of new products over quite a short period of time, and then they just, you know, like they brought out the milk chocolate grenade, then the white grenade. Don't know if something's happened with them. I don't know if they've gone pop, because they disappeared for ages, and then they've tried to. Then they've reintroduced the shakes, and they've reintroduced something else. Sometimes companies go too big too soon. So yeah, I don't know if they've had some troubles, but they see the products have never, I don't think, not been available. But I've not bought any grenade stuff for a while, so I don't know if they've just been struggling. No idea. Anyway, let me scan down see if I've missed anything. I am going very, very shortly. I'm going to go and away every day data collection. That's all it is. 100%. If you've got a healthy relationship with the scales and they don't affect your mood in any way, shape, or form, they don't affect how you're feeling that day, they don't affect your eating patterns, you can weigh every day and it can be, and that's how the scales should be treated. It is just data collection, right? And you know, some people will say weigh every single day, divide it by 7, that'll give you your average for the week. Yeah, that works. The issue with that is people that are emotionally attached to the scales weigh every day, and if they go up, they throw a paddy. If they go down, they get overly excited about it, and they just have mental mood swings from the scales. And if that's you, you shouldn't weigh every day. If you can see it as pure data collection, which I can, even though I can see it as pure data collection, I don't weigh every day, but I can see it like that. That's absolutely fine, you know. Definitely need to change my weighing day. I was doing Monday or Tuesday. Gonna hang on to Friday. You've got to do Friday. Michelle, you know to do Friday. You know to do Friday. You've been on bloody plan. What day's Friday? What day's weigh day? It's Friday. Whether you're still on plan with me or not, you shouldn't be changing that. Leave the scales alone at the beginning of the week, people. I can't repeat it enough. Honestly, I can't. I couldn't be arsed weighing every day. Do you know what? That is another thing. Like it is. It can become an obsession, even if it's data collection. People won't admit that. It can become an obsession. And if you're obsessed with anything, you've not got a healthy relationship with it, you know? So anyway, there we go. Right, I'm going to go make my yogurt bowl. Do you think resetting is good? I'm stalling. Thought I'd be up the game for a week. What do you mean by resetting? What do you mean by resetting? Sometimes it's sometimes I will say to clients that have been struggling a little bit, time for a little reset. And what I mean by a little, for me personally, what I mean by a little reset is I get back to basics. That's what, why is this so cold? Oh, no idea. Is get back to basics is what I mean by reset. Sometimes we just get, are you pre-tracking? Are you eating the protein? Are you eating the fiber? Are you planning things out a little bit? Some people get a bit complacent with it. Some people get a bit complacent with it. Go up by 200 calories. That's not a reset. That's just eating more calories. So a reset is just having a look back at what you've been doing. This is a reset for me. Like, if you mean by a reset where people go eat more calories to trick your body back into losing weight, so that's just a load of garbage. That's just a load of garbage. Eating more calories, you should have a weight loss break, right? Which just gives you a little mental break, really, more than anything. You don't need a physical break, right? Nothing stops us losing weight, right? If you went and lived in a jail cell for 18 months and someone gave you 3 500-calorie meals a day, you'd still be losing weight 18 months later as you were at the start of the journey. What we struggle with is we get a little bit complacent, we slip, right? The habits that we were putting in at the start of our journey, doesn't work then because I've stalled. Doesn't work. What you've stalled because you're not doing what you should be doing next, not because you're not eating enough. But I mean, you might not be doing what you should be doing because you're not eating enough, right? Being inconsistent. If you're over restricting yourself, it massively affects consistency. But if you're eating 1,500 calories a day, right, which is fairly restrictive for the majority of people, and you've stalled, right, eating 200 calories a day doesn't mean it tricks your body back into weight loss. That's just an absolute load of garbage, right? If you're not eating 1,500 calories a day, nothing stops us losing weight other than us. Nothing. It's not the body adapting. It's not this, that, and the other. Go tell that to people that live in countries that suffer famine. Yeah. Oh, look at you, overweight because you don't get enough food. Oh, such a pain, isn't it? That is that the reality of things. I'm not losing weight because I'm not eating enough. Hey, let's just logically think about that, right? You might not be losing weight because you're not eating enough, because that's causing inconsistencies, because you're over restricting yourself, which is just causing a restrict and binge mentality. So you think you're eating 1,500 calories a day when you're actually eating 2,500 calories a day on average, right? But this actual mindset that not eating low amounts of calories stops us losing weight is garbage. Tell that to someone that suffers with anorexia. Tell that to someone that lives in a country with famine. Oh, look at you chunky monkey, because you only eat 600 calories a day. Thought you'd have lost a bit more weight than that. The reality is just nonsense, isn't it? Like when we think rationally about things, we actually are. Yeah, that's really stupid, isn't it? But we don't think rationally. Why? Because we're vulnerable and we're desperate, and rationale goes out the window, right? That's why I'm here, because I might pour a bit of water on the fire, and I'm sorry about that, but I'll give you a bit of a reality check. If you were eating 1,800 calories a day and consistently losing weight, and you're now not consistently losing weight, it's because you've stopped eating 1,800 calories a day. So go back to basics, right? I was eating 1,500 calories a day, fasting 14 hours. There you go, Nick. You're using unsustainable, over-restrictive weight loss methods, and you'll only stick to doing that for a short period of time. And when you hit your weight loss brick wall and you can't eat your 1,500 calories a day and fast for 14 hours a day, your weight loss will stop, because you bounce back. You start slipping back into old habits. The thing is, we don't accept that. We don't want to accept that. That's what you've been doing. So stop losing weight in the wrong way. Why does everyone want to lose weight in the wrong way? Can you see this here? Do you see my website there? I coach healthy, sustainable fat loss, where my clients over the last 4 years have lost coming up to 20,000 pounds of body fat. It's the same price as Slimming World to work with me one-to-one. Why are you all struggling? Stop it. Go to my website, go to my TikTok profile, go to my Facebook page, go to my YouTube page, click on my link, sign up with me. Everyone's happy to chuck £200 a month at Manjaro, or you know, £30 a month on this, chuck £30 a month at me, and you'll have a successful weight loss journey. Right? I'll teach you the way. Right? Stop messing about. Let's get involved. I've got 2 start dates left for 2026. All right, sign up today. I'll get you started Monday. Right, you'll have 2-3 check-ins to go before Christmas. And what we'll do before Christmas is we'll work on your mentality. We'll work on putting my theories into place, healthy, sustainable fat loss. We'll try and erase some of the garbage that you've been doing in the past. And then we'll sort of have it as a pre-ready, like, for January, which January, February, March is such a great time to lose weight. Stop struggling. Same price as Slimming World. You're all happy to pay Barb's £30 a month. Come pay me and actually have some weight loss success, you know? And stop with, you know, you don't need to be asking all these questions. Oh, is it this? Do I need to reset? Do I need to add 200 calories? No, you don't need to do any of that. You need to be consistent. You need accountability. You need support to be consistent with doing what you need to do. That is what you need, right? So, you know, come and get some proper help and I will sort you out. Right, I'm going to go make a Mahusiv yogurt bowl. You can eat Mahusiv yogurt bowls and lose weight. They're great. I'll be back at 11 a.m. If you are on plan or in my community, because you're clever people, right? I'll do an Eddie Abu trick. I'll put people down. This is why you're an idiot if you do this. You're an idiot if you do that. You're clever if you do this, right? We'll use his marketing tactics for vulnerable people. You clever people that are on plan with me, you know, you smart people that want to have weight loss success and stop dilly-dallying about. I'll see you at 11 a.m. this morning, where we are at 11 a.m. minute silence. Yes, it is 11:11. Luckily, I am fashionably late, so I will see you at 11:05 on the Weight Loss Coaching Live. I can guarantee in 2025, I don't think I've been on at 11 a.m. if I said I am. Guys, I'll see you just after 11 a.m. We're talking about peer pressure. Peer pressure. Others influencing you, which is affecting your consistency on your weight loss journey. If you want to join that live, TikTok profile, Facebook page, YouTube page, come sign up, plan, and we'll start your coaching instantly. So yeah, you guys on plan in the community. I will see you at 11 a.m. Everyone else, I'll be back tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. If I don't see you, have a good 24 hours and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Oh, TikTok, do 2 separate sign-offs. TikTok, I'm saying bye to you first. Facebook, YouTube, I'm saying bye to you second.